having so many important people here within the metal scene, we should do a conference and to discuss something about what is happening right now in the metal scenes and to emphasize on how a Romanian band could reach the later stages of the metal scene and to promote themselves and be active on the international market. For me it will be easy because I will speak very little and I count on my on the other speakers here to help me. And as you see, only one drinks beer, so we all other are sober. So, so I will leave them to introduce themselves and to tell you something about what they are doing, and then we will come back to the discussions, please.
Hello, Coro here, doing touring for 20 years, touring with a lot of bands, sleeping my ass in nightliners and vans, playing big festivals and also caves. That's how it works. And beside that, I'm doing all the dirty job for a band that the band needs in between the tours and the shows, and just make sure that what they can offer to the people would be a nice product to make themselves happy and to be worthy for the rest of the market. Like, there are a lot of different subtle details on this topic, but I think the general thing about doing this job is to be 100% with the band and getting involved in a project with like not half-size measures, but like getting full in.
All right. I just want to check the monitor. Can you please turn it down for me? Thank you. I'm Kirsti. I'm from Midgardsblot Festival, where I'm technical advisor, associate booker, and also producer. I come from Bergen, where I've been in the music scene of metal since somewhere in the 90s, middle 90s. I was there starting a festival called Hole in the Sky, so I've been there for a while. Also been on tour, so I was touring in the late 90s, early 2000s with Immortal. So I know how it is to be a female on tour in Europe. That's quite interesting in the early 2000s. So yeah, I've known Jan Martin since late 90s. So I guess that is your cue.
Hello. Okay. My name is Jan Martin Jensen, and I'm the manager, director, and booker for Inferno Metal Festival. Inferno Metal Festival is held in Oslo, Norway, since 2001. So we had 21 editions in 23 years now. It is what you could call an extreme metal festival. It's of course a lot of focus on black metal since it's in Norway, but we also have a variety of other genres, thrash metal, death metal, and various other bands. And we also have a conference running beside the festival, which is now like the biggest music conference for metal, for the metal business. With this year we had 260 participants from 46 countries. So.
Hi, I'm Gunnar Sauermann, and I thought it's enough to tell you that I'm German, but Mihai said, no, you have to say more. Okay. In another life, I studied as a Central European archaeologist, did Celtic studies and comparative linguistics, which for my professor was mostly an excuse to do Old Norse. Then in the late 90s, I started a radio show called Black Metal Art, and there you can already kind of see a tendency here musically. And that led to me starting to write for Metal Hammer, in 2001 on the account of the editor not understanding a word when I was talking to Alan from Primordial, because I had a quite strong Dublin accent after studying in Dublin. That went away because I spent 10 years in Marseille working for Seasonal Mist as a promoter, then 2 years in the Netherlands, and then I was hired by Wacken, where I gained even more festival experience. I used to work for them already for several years during the festival doing press. And I was head of press in Wacken, which was an interesting job. And luckily I got out of that while I could and started working for Prophecy Production as a promoter. I'm still writing for Metal Hammer, so that's still being done. And I also work, and I guess that's why I'm here, for the Prophecy Fest, head of press, but also, of course, consulting with my boss about which bands to book, what to do or from the organization, security, blah, 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 everything. So, like, that's basically what I'm doing. And now I'll hand over to my colleague.
Hi everybody, Alessandro Castelli here for K2 Music Management from Rome, Italy. Thank you, Miu and Final Step and Metal Gates for the invitation here. We operate as a management and booking company since 12 years now. I've been also involved as a musician with my band Hadimiron through the years, so I like to say I'm exploring both sides of the barricade, both sides of the music industry, and it helped me a lot also as a perception as a manager now. I also run a venue in North Italy called The Academy. So we're just try to invest and shape the new generation of metal bands, hopefully that may become the headliners of the future. So it's time-consuming and inspiring because we invest on basically on new talents with vision for the future.
Okay, so I will start with the first question or discussion, because most of you are very familiar with booking, and of course some for festivals, some for their roster in the management company, and we would be very interesting to find out how do you pick the bands for your festivals and for your roster in case of management, and in which is the degree that you are willing to promote or to bring to your festivals less known bands or bands from countries like Romania or Eastern Europe, and how this could be done. Thank you. So,
is it one question at a time?
It's a discussion.
You start.
Oh, okay. I can share some similarities with talking about Romanian stuff with the market of Italy, which is both have been not on the maps for many years, so we're trying to build a perception also outside of Italy in this case for being suitable enough for an international career, and slowly building the reputation and creating new opportunities and just raising the bar all the times with a common vision, trust, and of course something that may transform and capitalize in future environment for the bands.
Jan.
So the question was, how do we book the festival?
The first one. How do you pick the bands for your festival?
How do we pick the bands for the festival, and if it's room for unknown bands, like bands coming from Romania that are not well known in international or well known in Norway. So first of all, there are not many slots available for new bands. Of course, like we have a 4-day and there's 36 bands, 9 bands a day, and of course you need to have most of them are more or less well-established bands, and a lot of them has to be Norwegian bands. we want them to be Norwegian bands since we are in Norway, and we know that we have a lot of international audience, and they want to see the Norwegian metal bands in Oslo. But that said, we have some few slots, and we actually booked Romanian bands. We had Negura Bonget years ago, brilliant band. And I must say that was like a rare thing that actually booked them, because I heard a demo with them. At that time they were sending out CDs, so I was listening to it, and it catch me. It's called also. It happens seldom, but it can happen. And this year we had Doredu, and I have problems saying it, but anyway, amazing band, brilliant, and that was thanks to the cooperation Inferno has with Armenia that made it possible. So.
But for example, for Negura Bunget, you took that because you liked it, or that also they had some level there and they were known?
Well, no, at that time they didn't have. Well, at different level how bands are known. It is important for a festival like us that we can present. Some of the band we have to present has to be new. It has to be like after the festival, people will talk about that they discovered this band at our festival, and that will be sticking. Inferno had them first, and it was a good band. And it has to be on a certain level, and it has to be interesting. And I'm thinking. Of course, this is not a band that is selling tickets, but it adds to the experience for the festival. It's building the reputation of the festival, and it did. Not every time we succeed, but with Negura Bonget we did. We got lots of good review, and people are talking about it.
So you're doing this. You bring bands which you think will be interesting, and people will talk about them after the festival, and in this way create a...
Yes, it's important to think about the festival. Why are the people coming there? Well, we are kind of an established festival. We've been running for such a long time, but we cannot just sit down and book anything and think that people are coming anyway. We always, and that will be boring anyway. But what I really like, when we have like all the headliners, all the bands that we need to have there that people want, and that are selling the last tickets that we are making the festival to go break even, and we are earning some money on it, then it's really good to have some few slots where I can book some bands that I just like myself.
Thank you.
To be honest.
Thank you, Jan. I also noticed that you emphasize on Norwegian bands, and that people in Norway want to see Norwegian bands in Norwegian festivals.
And also that we are a festival that are selling around 50% of the tickets to abroad. We have last time we made like we were counting it. We had sold tickets to 54 different countries. So there are people coming from all over the world to the festival, and they want to see Norwegian bands, of course.
This is something we should look upon also in Romania. In Romania, it's not like this. So I'm very curious what Gunnar has to say about Romanian bands, given his experience with some of them.
Well, it's kind of a long story. Maybe like at first going back to, because you asked what makes you book a band. And for Prophecy Fest it's pretty easy. It's connected to a label, Prophecy Productions, and that means last year we had Dordeduch for the reason they are on Prophecy. And of course they delivered a great album. That was the other reason that we booked them. And well, what happened, if you ask me about my relationship to the band, it started actually back then with Negura Bunget. I had heard the album already because as press you get it in advance, so came on my desk and it actually blew me away. And that for every band is of course the easy thing to do. You just have to produce an album that is blowing everybody away, who gets to hear it. That's step one. If you want to go out, make an album that has something. And that album was different because it had sounds on it that were different. When they used the loopy, the board, when they used the horns, when they used all these traditional instruments that created a sound, and also in their melodies, it created a sound that was different from anything else I had heard. So was the reason, like, whoa, and I was going to Inferno Festival. I've been there right from the start. And Jan Martin had thankfully booked them. I had to actually skip Nocturno Culto playing with Sarke because that was at the same time. They were in 2 different clubs, but I decided, no, I want to see that new Romanian band because that sounded so interesting. Went there and I was blown away again. So I actually talked to the guys afterwards, and we made an agreement that we would talk again in Wacken later that year, where they also played. So in Wacken, I went to their camp. They were actually camping. They didn't book a hotel or anything, no nightliner. And we had a longer conversation, which led to me coming actually to Romania for a studio report for Metal Hammer when they did the next album. And I've basically been following both bands then after they split. Not really amicably, but rather angrily, but I guess everybody in Romania knows that story. So I ended up I think going 4 times to report on new Negura Bunget albums. And then when Dordeduch emerged, I was, I think, the first one doing an interview with them. They took me to Brașov, up on a mountain, where we actually did a filmed interview for Metal Hammer. And I went with them to Bucharest for their first show. After listening to in Timișoara to their unofficial rehearsal show. And I saw their first show, and I actually then came back again for studio reports also on Dordeduch, until the unfortunate, untimely ending of Gabriel, which ended Negura Bunget. So as a journalist, I've been basically following those 2 Romanian bands for a long time. Reason being, they were unique, they brought something to the table, and with Negura Bunget put basically Romania on the metal map internationally. That was the band that got Romania recognized and like caused interest in other bands. Achieving that is not so easy, because if everybody could do that, we would have tons of bands out there, but like this was kind of the first step. Next step was like press was getting attention. Metal Hammer Germany wasn't the only one interested in those bands. Jonathan for first Terrorizer, and then Jonathan Seltzer, and then later Metal Hammer UK also did a lot of work on those bands, and so it got onto the map of this. So that was start number 1, and that got the bands recognized, it got them international press, and it brought Romania out. Then the next step is, of course, that it's something that you will probably go into. I worked for Wacken, and they have the Wacken Metal Battle. That again put me in touch with Romanian bands, because Romania is a participant and they bring their bands to Wacken. So there was interesting and new bands to be discovered, like Dirty Shirt, for example, completely different style-wise, but they also brought something interesting to the table, so I've been kind of having an eye on them. They never, I think, internationally broke that far, status-wise, than Negura Bunget or like Dordeduch, but they are known, and they played international festivals. So that's another band that is going out. Then you had bands like Zinzaze 3 or all the follow-up bands of Negura Bunget when everything split up into different things. So basically that was the next step, that there's more bands coming from Romania. Now I think we reached phase number 3, that festivals from Romania are actually reaching out, not only to both international press and international audiences. You have like Artmania being active in that respect. You have Rockstadt, and now you have, of course, Gates of Metal also having international participation. That's another way for a band to become known, because I mean, all of us that are here, we have checked out all the bands that have been playing and given them a fair chance of like, okay, let's check this out. And this is the way you discover new bands sometimes. You go to a festival, you see a band you never heard before, and you go, whoa, this is really good. And then that would be something that I would tell Martin, for example, hey, we should either sign them or we should book them for a festival. And then you get like hooked up. and now I've talked a lot, I think, but basically that's the three ways where you can get international press or international festivals to recognize you.
So it's perfect. You answered my next two questions. One of them it was what a band should do right now, Romanian band should do right now, in order to get to bigger stages, and you answered perfectly to it. And the other one was, what do you think about festivals, contest festivals for the bands like Road 2 and things like this? And here I think I would like to ask Coro also, what does he think, being a producer and doing all the dirty job like he did, Romanian band should do in order to reach out and be visible on the international stage right now?
For me, it's quite simple. If they cannot get full in and treat their own band and their own product as a priority, they shouldn't do it. It's as simple as that. But if they get proud of themselves about what they are able to offer to the people, both locally and internationally, they will sooner or later meet some nice gentlemen and ladies that would be adventurous enough to pay for them to play the other corner of Europe. That's how it works out for me. But sometimes you need to hunt your luck. First and foremost, it's important that you are able to deliver a top product and be nice as a band. Of course, talent, charisma, everything in between. And of course, a good record with a nice production to respect the standards of the day. But beside that, it's luck. And I think the main thing about a band is if they are able to keep themselves on a trajectory for a long time. Because it's a struggle. So it won't work from the first trying. You need to put a lot of time, a lot of your personal life to put it away, to be able to do sacrifices, to sacrifice a part of your personal life just to do the band, and not everybody is able to do that. Actually, I met a lot of nice bands that will stop in the middle of the whole thing just because it was enough for them on a personal level. These are more little aspects, but it is how it works out, and that's why a lot of bands fail. I don't want to sound bad about it or pessimistic,
no, but it's real.
But that's the reality.
Thank you. Kirsti, how do you pick the bands for your festival? You are a different type of festival.
We are a different type of festival, not that because we have a wider variation of music styles. Both we can have more folkish, like Vardruna and Heilung. I don't know what we should call pagan folk, Viking, something. I think they have their own genre. And we have pop bands, and we have a little bit of this and that, and also extreme metal. But we are an outdoor festival, so we have a bigger capacity than Martin and Gunnar. So we are a little bit luckier. And we are not that focused on what kind of country the band comes from. It's more where it fits. Does it fit in? Do we like it? Where should it be on the bill? And what is frequently coming up is also, that's a little bit of a problem you say, is like a lot of bands had also normal jobs, so they only want to play Saturdays because that fits with a normal job, and that doesn't always work for us because then it would be a long Saturday. Then we start playing bands at 8 o'clock in the morning and we were done by next Sunday. So that is, but basically we just do what we like, and it doesn't matter where it comes from. If it comes from Africa, Romania, or China, or the States, or Chile, or Norway. But it's easier to put the Norwegian bands because they are not far away. And we also know them because yeah, we also know them very well, so it's easier. But we try to give what the audience want and some surprises, you know.
Yes, being here, most of us met in Norway at we had an initiative, Green Rocks, and we met together at Tons of Rock Festival. You had a presentation about the green measures you make in the festival, and right now you are in Romania at the Romanian festival. You see, there are a few things we do. And what do you think about this part of organizing a festival, and how can the festivals collaborate? Because
like the green part of the festival?
yes, green part.
Oh, really? Do we have to go there? No, recycle, people, recycle. I think that was a great meeting. I think it all depends on who picks it up. We can be as good as we want to recycle, but if there's no system to pick it up, it's no point. Sorry to say, but that is it. Yeah, we're pretty good at it at home, but we have an infrastructure that picks it up. So, and we have a system for it, so that is pretty okay. Yeah.
Yes. Thank you. So, you want to say something? Okay.
Because we were at the competition thing, right? I could add to that if you want. Well, basically, I work long and also as a jury member for the Wacken Metal Battle. Competitions can be a good way. A, if the competition is good, and B, if the competition is run well in a country. Best example of a well-run competition is probably the Icelandic Metal Battle. They have 4 bands under contract with record labels out of that contract, and I know that a 5th one is about to actually sign. So, like, they have successfully brought bands out of Iceland, and which is of course quite a remote place, and have them internationally going, even though they did not all win in Wacken. But this is a well-run competition. Reason being, there is like a national jury consisting of people that know their job. They're from the radio stations, they're from the festivals. There's an international jury, there's bookers, there's press, there's festival people. And this is a competition where actually really the best bands wins. And there are other countries like Norway, which is an interesting example. You have a country that has successfully produced bands, and the Wacken Metal Battle kind of sucks, sorry to say if there are any Norwegians around, but problem being they are not connected to the rest of the metal scene really. It's the heavy metal guys doing this, while the Norwegian scene of course is quite black and extreme. There you have basically a Wacken Metal Battle where the guys think that in order to win we need to send something to appease the German taste. But that's not how the Wacken Metal Battle in Wacken functions, because all the promoters from the different countries are in the jury. So it's not a German taste thing. So do not try to produce for the winning festival by sending heavy metal bands. You actually have to send your best band from each country. For a band, for many countries, this competition is super important. Like for a country like Faroe Isles, for example, the Wacken Metal Battle is the only real dedicated metal festival they're having, because the other festivals are mixed. So it can be a good way. It can also be a good way for a band. You get recognition, you get to meet people outside. So a competition can be good, but you have to be good again. That's again the same thing. You have to be good. Your music has to bring something to the table. Best is if it brings something new. And if you're good and your national competition is good, it will actually produce results. So to answer your question, yes, competitions can be a good way.
Thank you.
But that is also because of the jury. Because in the jury, if then it's a lot of, like in the Icelandic one, there's a lot of international festivals and bookers, and so in the jury, they will be discovered. So that is a little bit like out and play in festivals, say yes. Just play and play and play, because you will, at some point, there will be some visitors that have been invited, and they, like Gunnar also said earlier, we said, oh, that's not bad, we never heard about you. But we discover it on the spot, and then it gets interesting. Because there's one thing listening to a band on record, and you go like, yeah, or yay, and then you see the live, they're either super disappointed thing, or you get super excited about it. But you have to see it live. And that is where you get to see things. And so go Go play for free, spend your money playing, go work places.
Thank you. Actually, it was a curiosity of mine also, because I'm doing a festival which is actually the longest running festival in Romania and which has the biggest contest for Romanian metal bands in this country, and which brings out in the final 10 bands. Actually, some members of the jury are here. All of them are from the music industry. And even if we give them lots of money as prizes and contracts and things like this, I think the next step, and you answer my question, is as the winner to go to discuss with other festivals to bring them maybe a slot, not the best slot, but one slot in a external festival would be a good possibility for them. And I also like to ask you, Alessandro, you as a booking agent, as a manager, how do you choose your bands? What do you think about the Romanian market? You are very present. I know you send me all the times, all the music, and you are many emails. You are interested in what's happened here. How do you think you can contribute to this, or if you have plans about this?
Okay, we just observe the scene, attend shows. Also, I'm here as an agent for a band playing tonight, Shores of Note, which is a good occasion to connect. Connection create value. So in all the times, being around and keep the ball rolling, it's something useful for the future of a band. So we just see them coming. And first question, do you really need a manager right now? Is it that moment of your career? You still need to look at in your closet and adjust things internally. And then there's a point where the band is actually ready to grow up. And we start to build them, creating connections, like this one. I push my bands, our bands, to a lot of festivals and opportunities, and each thing is a leverage for the next one. So we choose very carefully the opportunities, also in base of financial factor, perception the scene may have of this kind of band in this moment, the trends. We try to get them prioritized by their label. So if they enter and join the festival circuit, it's probably then the label will invest in you more and more. So we just try to raise the bar all the times, and sometimes it works, and it's very good. But it's not a formula. There's not a formula, and there's not a way to succeed, for sure. You need to try, adjust, reconsider, and push again. But when the band is ready, it's like rudder. All of us as a rudder, when they book a band or when I choose a band which I suppose is ready for be booked for the foreign opportunities, it's like a kind of observation of all the factors, and then things just align.
Thank you. Now, I see lots of interested people in the audience, and I know some of them have some questions, and I think that we can start to take questions from the public, if you agree, of course. And we have a mic there. Where is it? Ladan. So I think Andy here wants to ask something.
Hi. I have just released an album with my band, and actually I've sent dozens of emails for reviews and for maybe, I don't know, for some news maybe. And I have MailChimp analytics, and actually there are just a couple of clicks on email, and nobody listened. So I'm very disappointed right now. I don't know. I'm sure that you have a lot. You receive a lot of mails. You receive a lot of requests for reviews or for submissions. And I want to know if I sometimes, maybe in the future, I will be more lucky than now. I don't know.
May I answer?
Please.
I don't think it works that way, to be honest. The first thing is, every one of us and all the magazines and all the labels, we receive literally like tons of this kind of mail. So the first thing is we look at where it's coming from. And if the source is one that has in the past already produced really interesting results, then we look at it. From a press perspective, it's very often that a colleague tells me, like one that I know and that I value, hey Gunnar, you should check out this album, then I'll check it out. So for you to get out, sending random mails is probably not really working because nobody will look at them as you just experienced. So first step, actually for many bands, is you need a label, because a label is one of the sources that people will look at and will listen to. Like if any label, Nuclear Blast, Central Media, whatever, is sending it out.
We don't have any labels here.
Well, that's of course is the problem. Like to get on a label, you need to kind of check, for example, which labels, which kind of style are we having, what are we playing, which labels are the bands on that have influenced us, and then you start by sending, like checking how do they actually want things to be submitted. Because a lot of people send random mails to random guys at random labels, and the thing I'll do when I get this kind of mail is click, boom, trash. I don't really have time to look at that, and if somebody is not even following the procedure that he should submit to our label, which is on the website, then that's the first, like, okay, they lack the intelligence that is needed to actually follow the regular way, so nah, boom, we need bands that are actually kind of thinking and start thinking. So check out how the labels want you to submit, and then you submit, and then you need luck. First of all, that whoever does that checks it, and secondly, that he likes it and gets interested. He might not reply because he started, and that's very important for any band that is here. Always send your best track, and that one should be the first one, and that should not have a 10-minute intro. It should come to the point. Right there and then. You have 30 seconds to convince whoever is listening to it, journalist, booker, label, you have 30 seconds to convince them. If these 30 seconds are spent by some intro where it just goes, you're done. Because they're like, no, chuck out. The rest of the album could be brilliant, but he doesn't get there. So that's the first point. Your demo and your first song has to be on point. That is your best track, and no long intros, no bullshit. It should be yours. Like that's the thing that everybody tells you, oh, that's a great track. If everybody says so, they're all right. And if you think differently, no, listen to what everybody else says, because they're the ones receiving it. So that's the first thing you need to do. Get out and get to a source that has you. Giving it to people, networking, that was what you spoke about. Networking is the next super important step for any band. Go out, talk to them, talk to people. If you go to festivals, like some clever bands always have some demos in their pocket, or nowadays, which I actually prefer to getting a CD demo, somebody giving me a little card with a link or something, or or something I can scan, and then I can listen to, because like most of us listen to music digitally nowadays, so getting a CD is already, where's my CD player? So like, it's easier to just hand it over and like, hey, check this out. And it should have a little description what it is. So if you hand me, for example, we're a technical death metal band, I'm going, yeah, trash. Or if it says, oh, it's black metal, I'll go, oh yeah, cool, I checked that one out. Know who you're talking to is also like one of the important points. We come to networking again. So if you want your stuff out, first thing to do is get yourself informed. Where is our music? Where would it fit? Which festivals does it fit to? Go to these festivals, try to check out people that are there, try to find journalists. Like you will probably have friends that are in bands or something, or bookers, and they can tell you, hey, you should talk to that journalist, you should talk to that guy. You should here, there's the label boss, they might like your music. Talking to them is always a good thing, and giving them something they can easily access and easily listen to is the next good idea. Then the third good idea, have information. So not only your best track, the most catchy one should be up front, also have some ready information that is easily accessed. Like, okay, here's the link, I can check your Facebook. If I see you have 20 followers, you're probably too small for us. If I see you have 20,000 followers, you're good. So the next step is work. So you need to play gigs. You're like, I'm not getting gigs because we're small. Well, organize local gigs, organize gigs yourself, get in contact with bands that play your style and say, hey, we can organize a gig for you in our town if you give us a gig in your town. So you start to expand in concentric circles. You start in your hometown and you play your ass off in your hometown. Then you actually go to the neighboring towns. Then you try to get further, and then you try to get maybe even to other countries. It's all about networking, 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 and of course your music has to have the talent. But what doesn't work is sending out random mails, and I think you just experienced exactly that.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I think it was a very good explanation.
I told you that I booked Negura Bonget because I got a demo. At that time, we got like physical copies, CDs. And like Gunnar says, where's the CD player? I don't have a CD player at my office anymore. At that time, I received maybe up to 100 demos, so I could check out everyone. But nowadays, it's so easy for everyone to send out emails. And I have no chance to check out everything. It's like only today I got like, I was checking my mail now, it was 7-8 from bands that wants to play. And it seems like Gunnar said, if you really want to play Inferno Metal Festival, then you have to know what it is. I get emails like, yeah, we want to play some summer festivals, and can we play your festival? We are not in the summer. It's like, so unfortunately, maybe you have sent me a mail. Maybe I haven't read it. Most likely because I have received more than 1,000, and we have 3-4 slots we can book. It was totally different before when you got like something in the mail. I don't say that you should send it in the mail to me because, as I say, I don't even have a CD player anymore. So, well, I don't know the solution.
No, but this is kind of confusing because one of us say that it's we don't want copies anymore. We don't want physical copies, and one say it's too much digital. So we kind of
no, it's not too much digital, but it seems like. Bands, I'm not saying that you do it, but it seems like bands are just, they are just, here's lots of festival, and we make one email that, and some don't bother to send it, they're just sending it without, they're just sending it to 50 festivals, then it's just deleted, it's not for me, they're sending it to everyone. So at least they should be polite and send it directly to me. And when you read it, you see that they made it for every festival. They don't know a specific why they want to play at Inferno. They also sent this to Wacken and Hellfest and Bloodstock and whatever. And sometimes they even make mistakes. So if you read the whole, it's suddenly sent. And we hope that we can be at Bloodstock next year. They send it to Inferno. So it's lots of spam actually, but Gunnar has a point. If I get a mail from someone that I've been working with, like Alessandro sent me emails, and I check out his band. Sorry, I haven't booked any, but I checked them out. So the same if Gunnar sends me something, then I'm checking it out. So it's important step to get at the festival. You should get someone else to present you to the festival, that the festival is already in connection with.
And also, I guess you have digital copy and also physical copy, because I do like physical copies, because then I know I have to listen to it, because that email I will forget, and that card will go. So, yeah.
So the answer is use us. For example, Alessandro, which wrote me lots of emails and I never think I answered. Right, last week wrote me on Facebook and told me, what do you prefer, CDs or vinyl to bring? Because I want you to listen something, and now I will have to listen because I have to listen. He will ask me, and
You have to.
So
Yeah, I call them like physical reminders.
Yes.
it's something
you,
like
you
this.
will remember to have somewhere sometime, and
Yeah.
you maybe dig. So
Okay, if we have other questions, please.
Very good.
Hi everyone, my name is Alin. We've talked about bands getting out of the country in certain ways, like having a good product, having good music, talent. Another approach would be contests, right? We talked about contests. But I would like to ask you about a maybe debatable subject, and especially here in Romania, maybe, in my opinion. It's about pay-to-play slots. And yeah, I saw Gunnar, I saw your face. Yeah, it's debatable, and I would like to ask if a band wanting to get out of the country, is this an approach for them? Could they do this? Maybe it won't apply to your festivals, maybe it won't apply to bigger festivals which have their business model, a certain business model, but maybe for touring, on European touring, maybe it will work. And now maybe Coro can tell this because he's into this touring business. But anyways, if the answer is yes, could be approachable, a pay-to-play slot, the band, what should the band look into? What should it be careful about or pay attention to in order to get all the outcome, the most outcome the band can get from this pay-to-play approach?
The thing is,
I don't think they should do it.
No, fucking piss me off, but yeah, you go ahead.
It's
the pay-to-play is not a new thing in the industry. We need to have this. Right now, the difference is that we don't have time, mood for mediocre bands any longer. That their time is lost. So the point is, if you are not able to come with something interesting and use any other method, even going on your own cash-in tour to promote yourself, if you are not able to deliver something interesting, don't do it. It's our time is spent, your time is spent, and you get frustrated in the end, no results. That's the sad truth. Beside that, there are already a lot of professionals in this business that could show the way to a certain band. We say, like, I think you could fit in that tour or a festival in Central Europe. You go do your own show in an exotic place like Israel or Armenia or Georgia. It can work like that as well. Of the band. I mean, think about it. It was like, do a garden party with your friends instead of spending thousands and thousands just to play at the noon in the middle of nowhere for a couple of people and just put it in your portfolio that you play a big festival like Hellfest. Nobody, I mean, like, if you are not able to offer a product that will fit the level of Hellfest, don't go there yet. There is a way. It's a road. You start locally, then go regionally, and then if you are able to hit the top, you hit the top. But that's how it works. Shortcuts will come against bands. You will finish the budget, maybe you lose the job, because if you keep yourself busy on the road, it's hard to keep a normal job. So you will end up in a bad situation. You need to plan it well, carefully, and be able to fire even your best friend. If they play together in a band, people would be able to take care about a greater good about a band. Nobody is I mean, like everybody is playing until the point they are not able to do it any longer. If there is not a priority for themselves, they will quit and somebody else need to come on their place. We did that with Negura Buncet a lot of times. Incantation, another band that I'm working for, we do the same, just to keep going for 35 years already. Replacing people in the band, it's essential to keep a band going. Because right now, especially with the big festivals, it's like the original lineup getting back after 20 years or whatever. I said, like, what's the original lineup? It usually is 1 or 2 people that will be the band. The rest of them are replaceable, no matter how big they are. But
Thank you, Coro.
Thank
Please,
you.
Jan. You had something else to
Maybe
do?
something to the pay to play as an add-on. What Coro basically said, there is a touring scene pre-COVID and there's a touring scene after COVID, and that's not the same. We don't know where the balance will be coming down in the end, but at the moment things are at a shift. There's inflation, touring has gotten more expensive, drastically more expensive, hiring buses, hiring vans, petrol, hiring crew. A lot of crew has left, so all the big ones are just giving more money to the crew that is still there on the market, so they're getting all the good guys, and the smaller tours are having a problem finding people that are actually good, as backliners, as crew, as everything. So touring has changed, that's number one. Secondly, basically, as far as I know, there aren't any festivals, at least not as Alessandro said, in the main markets that are doing pay-to-play slots, so it's all about touring. If you don't have a label, don't do pay-to-play. If you do have a label and your label is not willing to actually invest, they have a reason for it, then don't do pay-to-play. There's a very limited window in where pay-to-play could could make any sense. And that is if your calculations work out that by selling t-shirts every night, for example, you can come out plus minus 0, then getting the exposure might be good. But look at your contract. If, for example, it says that if you're being late, you're not getting the show, bad luck. And if you have to pay for everything and there's no buyout and you have to pay for your food and you have to pay for this and you have to pay for that and you're not even getting to play, or nobody's in the hall yet and you already are on the stage and then people arriving slowly while you're playing, and when you're finished then there's like 50 people in, then you're not even getting the exposure, then you're not selling t-shirts. So the conditions are something, if you actually consider this, conditions are something to look clearly into. What markets are being served? Which places are you playing? Are you playing in Berlin or in Oberkleinkleckers Niedersdorf that nobody has ever heard of? You know, that makes the whole difference. So like, pay-to-play might make sense if you think you can make a break even, but to get that, you need to sell a certain amount of shirts and CDs and stuff, and if you have no label support, forget about pay-to-play, then somebody just wants to fill in the slot and gets the petrol money by putting you on the billing, and he doesn't give a shit about you. So don't, unless you have actually a calculation that makes sense.
Yeah. Can I add? May we hope is this old paradigm of the pre-COVID, because now everyone is careful about budget, even more than the past. So it's quite an investment to be on a nightliner for 10 to 30 days. So you have to study the circumstances and have vision for the after tour, for the post tour. So it's important to tour, but it's also important to reiterate your message right after and know that you need a new video or a new setup promotion or a new record on time to keep on the radar. Because you can open up to Germany with 8 shows, for example, and then nothing happens for like the following 2 years. You need to begin again. So to keep the ball rolling is something you have to choose carefully and say no. It's something very important sometimes, because we all want to tour and be part of the package with your favorite band, but ask yourself also why this proposal is coming to me. Why not bigger bands? Maybe because bigger bands refused it, so this proposal is circulating on the emails. That's also a message to the other agency. If you buy this lot, you are the ones who bought this lot. So for the future, you don't have leverage to create your own cachet or your own spontaneous request to come back in the country. So you have to you have to be really smart, and also be able to say no. Yeah, that's the point.
I'm also having my promotion company. I'm a local promoter in Oslo, so I'm also putting up shows the whole year with international bands, and most of the time they have a support band or opening act, and some of them I know have paid to play there, and some maybe not. And I see that some of the bands that I know that have paid to be on the tour, they are not actually ready to be on the tour. So they could actually be lucky if it was just 30 people seeing them instead of being a full house, because then they will never ever could come back and play again. So that's also something a band could think about. When are you actually ready to go on the tour, to present your material for an international audience? I think some of the bands, like they say, it's they only need a band that are willing to pay for the cost. So they put up any band, and this band is just shit. Then they are ruining their career. They are going on tour to die. They are too early. They should have stayed in the hometown playing youth club for another year and get good, and then they could go on tour.
Thank you very much. As we approach the end of our meeting, we can take one last question. Please.
Just an observation. I'm from Constellații Rock, another contest festival. I think it would be nice to have a band member with a success story. But the only band member that is on stage I know is Bogdan. So a question for Bogdan. The contest winner in the past, why did you give up?
Time. Time, priorities, and a lot of alcohol. So I never gave up to play at home or to try to play for my friends. But unfortunately, other things were more important. So thanking you all for a very nice talk and for being here. I would like to tell you that you have these people here until tomorrow, so make the best out of it, because there are people that can help in lots of ways. And I would like, as a final touch, being here in this festival, Metal Gaze Festival, until now, and also few of you or most of you coming in Romania more times at Armenia or other festivals. What do you think about the Romanian bands you saw this year, let's say, or in the last period? What do you think? Where are they? Can they produce something? Can they enter the international market, or just a thought? For example, yesterday you saw lots of Romanian bands. What do you think about it? What do you think about the festival, the way they fit in?
I feel privileged to be invited to, this is my first, I went to Armenia. That was my first time in Romania at all. I feel privileged to be able to visit and to also get to know the music industry here and the metal industry. And it's also, it's exciting. I feel like we have been, you guys are starting something that is really, really exciting and should give a lot of energy to build up. It's a starting point, and that is great. And it's also so much talent. And it's also great to see all the festivals that are here and all the people. So I'm just very excited for you guys. It's going to be shitloads of work. So you guys just have to remember that and play. Play, work hard, have fun. And it's going to be shitty days, but it's also going to be fun. And that is also for the rest of us. So yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you. It's really, really great that we have been invited here. I really enjoy this festival. Really, really, really a nice one, and it's a good venue. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you. Gunnar, you are used to, huh?
Oh, yeah, I played with my band here in 2019, no, 19, yeah, just before the pandemic. I'm here as an agent right now, so I think it's clear I'm investing my time in this festival and the opportunities it may bring. And yesterday night, I've been here in the middle of the crowd and seen some positive energies also between parties, the connection I was speaking about before. It's it seems to be a scene that open to exchange and to talk with each other, like festivals, teaming up, and promoters not fighting each other but creating something common, which is being on the maps. So I feel something moving from my perspective, of course.
Thank you. I think you should be the last one.
You try to force me to say something?
Only if you want.
Well, I mean, it obviously has been great to be here, that I can totally tell, but well, when it comes to a label perspective, depends now on which of my multiple personalities you want to talk to. Then the band that I found probably the furthest from their playing and everything would be a band that, because of their style, does not fit Prophecy Productions. Like, they wouldn't be for us, but they were probably for other labels to check out.
Thank you. Coro.
The thing is, I see a lot of musicians in the audience, so I wish them good luck. I'm happy to be surrounded by so many gifted people. And for each one, it's luck. That's the whole thing.
Thank you all. Thank you very much for the presence. Thank you, Metal Gates and Mihu, for the privilege. And thank you for the audience for being patient with us. Thank you.